Good evening, folks. If you are watching after the fact, then please do feel free to skip ahead to qualifying as we get the rest of the drivers into the lobby and the stream all up and ready to go. We will be with you very, very shortly. Good evening, folks. It is stream number 2 of 2 this evening. I've just been with APPF1 for what was an incredible race at Suzuka, and we've got a huge grid, 19 drivers, maybe 20, who knows, um, for a race around Mexico. And I'm very excited for this one, and I don't think I'm going to be able to speak come tomorrow morning, but it is all in the aid of providing you with some top-notch qualifying, top-notch commentating. We've got full qualifying tonight here in ESRL, so we're going Q1, Q2, Q3 as we go along. Normally it's short qualifying. I think it depends on the number of sign-ups for the evening. So this should be exciting as well. I'm taking the place of your usual commentator tonight, Ghost. Normally it would be me and him, or just him. Ghost isn't very well this evening, but I'm sure he'll be watching along in the live chat. I'm certain of it. So he won't be too far away, but you've got me instead, and that's not a bad substitution, I don't think. I think we're just waiting for... I don't know if we're waiting for anything. Should be getting going in a moment. Marcus should get well soon. Ghost, yes. Yes, as for myself as well. I said it on the last stream, Ghost, but yes, get well soon, buddy. It'd be nice to have you back in the comms box if I'm around next Friday, and I'm sure you'll be better by then. Hello, Marcus Short. Hello, 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 everybody else. There are 3 people currently in the stream right now and watching along. It is posted up in the ESRL Discord, so get on there, get subscribing if you haven't done already, and like the stream as well. All the support really does go a long way, and I really do appreciate it. And if you get some time at some point, go back and look at the last stream I just did. It got very exciting towards the end with 5 cars fighting for the lead. I'm hoping ESRL can provide some uh, top-notch action, which they usually do. Looking forward to this one. Yeah, I mean, myself, Mexico isn't one of my favourite circuits on the calendar, but I'm certain it can. Right, looks like we are underway, so if I get my thing up for me, and we can get ourselves going into qualifying. Looking forward to this one. I believe it's this one. Alright, good evening everyone, and welcome to the channel and to tonight's stream. My name is Sumo Gilligan, and I shall be your commentator for this evening. Just me tonight, but I'm sure the race will be just as good as always. We head to North America for our race at the vibrant Mexico City. The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez has 17 corners, 10 to the right and 7 to the left. This 2.674 kilometer circuit can be a tough track to get right. Expect to see the drivers making the most of the DRS down the long main straight into turn 1. we take a look at the championship now, and if I get it up on my laptop here as well, so I can run you through everything, we'll have a look at the driver standings. And it seems after a DNF in Canada for NER Ayrton, Myra takes the lead of the championship on 59 points, closely followed by Donev and Speed on 54 points. Ayrton sits on 52 and is one driver who can never be counted out come race day. Red Bull sit on 109 points, if I get the rest of the constructors up as well, and with 17 points ahead of the Ferrari team, who are on 92. Third place sees Alpine, Mercedes, Aston Martin and Williams battling away with 10 points between the teams. So there is plenty to play for here in this close championship here in ESRL Division 1. We have quite the interesting race on our hands here at Mexico, and we're going for qualifying. It's Q1, 18 minutes for the 19 drivers in the session this evening to get themselves into the top 15. 4 drivers will be eliminated at the end of this session, and let's get all of the information up for you now. Let's see who is venturing out onto the circuit. It's Vetsku, a fan favourite among many of the viewers here on ESRL, and I'm sure his supporters will be out in droves this evening. Let's get a track map up for the Mexico City GP. I probably won't be able to pronounce any of these corner names, just so that you know. Maybe I'll attempt some of them. That's not the right circuit. That's the circuit. That's also the circuit. It doesn't seem like they have corner names to me, so they're just going to be by number. But that's the track map up on my screen now, so I can see that if I need to refer to it at any stage. And a few drivers venturing out. GFO Ayrton, I think Ayrton 2 is what we called him before, is on the medium tyre. I saw some people doing that in Tier 1 APPF1 a little while ago for their qualifying session. I'm not sure why that is a choice, but I don't disrespect it. Here we go then, F1 Vetsku, we're right on board with him as he begins the runs for this qualifying session, and it's down the long straight. Somebody's on the intermediate tyre down there, still in the pits I think, but heavy braking now into this 3-corner chicane, turn 1 then into 2, looking for the best exit possible onto this next DRS straight. It's a double DRS zone down here. Ghost would love to complain about that if he were here at the moment, and then into another heavy braking zone. Purple to the first sector, but we'll ignore that for now. This very technical, twisty part of the track now. Into this double apex right-hander here. And then that looked like a good one from Vetsku in the Williams. Then we're into this S section. Very careful on this curve. Likes to spit you out if you get on it too much. And very tricky through this bit here. It looks easy, but it's trickier than it seems. Vetsku navigates it well. Coming down into this next heavy braking zone now. Quite quick flick to the right, and then into another heavy braking zone through the stadium section. I can't remember the amount of people this area sits. I'd tell you that fact if I knew it, but a couple more corners to navigate for Vetsku in the Williams. He's going to set the benchmark here in Division 1. It's a 1 minute 17.0 from the Williams. We're going to follow Kloppet here as he peels into the pit lane. Nothing from him. Ayrton 2 coming across the line in the Alpha Tauri. It is 18.5 for him. The main Wayne is on the intermediate tyres. Now I'm not sure if that's allowed here in Division 1 ASRL. And I'm sure the stewards will crack down on that if that is the case. Speed Alcoholic, meanwhile, in the Ferrari, making his way through Sector 2. He's just come off the back of a race. He got involved in an incident in the final stages and saw him slip away from the podium. He'll be looking to make amends tonight, I'm certain of it, as he makes his way down towards that Sector 2, well, Sector 3 line even, making his way into the stadium just now in that scarlet red Ferrari, looking to go even faster than F1 Vetsku at the time being. It's looking like a decent lap that he's managing to string together here. Car number 49, I want to say it is, making his way through the final couple of corners. Let's see where it puts him. It's a 17.2. He's 2 tenths down on Vetsku's time. Let's see who else is out on circuit. Is that the other Williams? It is the other Williams. He's on a second run, so we'll keep an eye on him. Klopp is on an out lap, so he's come out once again. A lot of drivers still in the pits, so a few drivers waiting for the track evolution to set in here in this Q1 session. The other Williams sets a time, but that's not a competitive time at all, but we'll watch along as he does go and set a time. So we follow one Williams and now we go on to the other, and really using all of the track as he comes down towards turn 1, looking for a nice clean run through here is car number 29. Oh, and a little bit of oversteer as he gets on the power to exit that corner onto the next part of the straight. And crossing the sector 19, it's not looking great. He's 4.4 seconds up on his previous best though, so looking like a better lap, and at least an improvement on his first run around the circuit. Look like quite a nice helmet he's got there as well. If we get a safety car, we'll run through some helmets if we get some time. I'm sure we've seen some of them before. But oh, another big snap of oversteer as he comes through that S section. The car unsettled, and there it goes. It's a spin, and expertly caught. That was Max Verstappen-esque of catching a spin there. What a pirouette as he came onto that DRS straight there. And he'll be peeling into the pit lane, I'm sure, for a change of tyres and perhaps underwear as well. Let's see who else is out on circuit. Short Marcus has just come out onto the track as well. Kloppet in the Aston Martin, car number 99, has set off on his lap at the moment. His second attempt at a lap after coming in after the first one. Can he get anywhere toward the top? His teammate NER Ayrton, the man who crashed out in Canada last week and was leading the championship, is currently still in the pit lane, as are the majority of the field so far. Only 5 cars have set laps at the moment, with Kloppet going to make that number 6. Making his way through the S section now. Opens up that DRS down to this right-hander. Coming into the stadium section is the Aston Martin. This very twisty bit as well. A very technical track it is here at Mexico, and you've really got to get it right. I'm not sure. I know in real F1 the altitude comes into effect. I'm not sure how prevalent that is, but a 17.5 from the Aston Martin, not a bad benchmark at the moment. A decent time set right there. That's Nicky 312. He is out on the circuit on an outlap for the time being. Let's go up and down the grid. Ayrton 2 sets a better lap time this time. He's got an 18.5. I think he might have set that a little while ago, but he'll be looking to go fast. He's about a second down on Kloppet. There, I think Short Marcus will be our next driver to cross the line, unless Nicky, no, Nicky's on an outlap, and Amaguna, Arsenal fan, I think. But anyway, making their way through the stadium section now is Short Marcus in that Alfa Romeo, hoping not to invalidate through here. It's easily done at those couple of corners, and making his way through the final. It's looking like a decent time. It is. It's the fastest time so far. He goes 100th of a second quicker than Vetsku in the Williams. Let's see, we've got the Mercedes. Avi making his way to start a lap now. Keep an eye on that Mercedes duo. Oh, quick indeed. Is that Nicky making his way through? No, Nicky is on a lap though, so we'll keep an eye on him. It's Ayrton 2 setting a lap. He is. He's 5 tenths up, and it does see him improve, not position but time. It's a 17.6 for the AlphaTauri. Our championship leader Myra is out on track. His teammate as well, TF Martin, is out on the circuit as well. making their way around, trying to find somebody else on a lap. Vetsku peeling into the pit lane, a decent first run for him. We've got 8 minutes and 40 seconds left of qualifying. I think Nicky's going to be our driver next across the line. Here he comes through the final corner. A decent time from him. It's a 16.5. A great time from the AlphaTauri. A new benchmark laid down by the AlphaTauri driver. This Alpine is invalidated, so he'll have to go around the track again. Is that Dennis making his way through? It is. It's a 40.1. Not a great start for him. That's Aces making his first foray out onto the circuit. And Amaguna, he'll be going again, it seems. Not the best lap time from him. Short Marcus, the only AlphaTauri on the circuit. So we turn our attention to Avi, who in the meantime has been completing a outlap, it seems. So he'll be going around once more. Let's go on board then with the two Red Bulls. It's Myra making his way through. Purple to the second sector, but we'll ignore that for these first runs of qualifying. The Red Bull making his way around the last couple of corners. This man is our championship leader after last week, and deservedly so, I think. But Ayrton has definitely got some pace still in him. But Myra goes P2 at the moment, not managing to beat Nicky, but is about a tenth away. Here's Donev, then one of the drivers in contention for best of the rest, I think, or no, for the championship itself. Actually, never mind. Keep an eye on this Alpine. There's a close fight. I think it's about 4 or 5 cars, all within about 10 points of each other, fighting at the front. And Donev sets down a 1 minute 16.2. A decent run around this circuit for him. At the moment, I think Vetsku is out. Did Vetsku go any quicker? I don't think so. The 17.0 from Vetsku. I think it's Amir next across the line. He's starting a lap. Amaguna goes up into P7 with 17.4. We've got the Hass of Naif Clark. No, Main Wayne has set a lap already. Short Marcus is into the pit lane. So we've got Aces making his way around now. Great racer is Ace, but not the best lap for him. A 40.3. Is that Ayrton? Yes, he is. There he is. That's the man to keep your eyes on. The man to beat, always out on the track here in ESRL, is of course NER Ayrton. Keep an eye on him as he makes his way around the track, and I'm sure he'll be up in the top part of the grid. Anybody else out on a lap? I think Amir will be the next driver to cross the line and set a competitive time. He's making his way through Sector 2 now. Oni Team Finland, yes. I think Myra's one of the Finnish drivers, and Vetsku, Myra and Vetsku, the Finnish drivers. Actually, Vetsku's out of the session. I think he's retired. I think he's going to call his Q1 there. He's confident that that time is good enough to see him into Q2. But here comes Amir then. This looks like a decent time from the Mercedes. It's going to be good enough for P6. I reckon he's got a bit more time in him in that Mercedes. Here comes the Main Wayne. It's a 16.8, a great time from the Haas driver. I think the Division 2 champion, I want to say, or was that Vetsku? It was one of the two. Ghost would correct me if he was here. Aces pushing up into the top 10 with a 17.4, and there he is. NER Ayrton sets the new benchmark. It's a 15.8. That's 4 tenths quicker than Donev's time. And is that Martin crossing the line? He's starting a lap just now. Lostock is also going to be starting a lap. Naif Clark, another driver who is fast here in ESRL Division 1. Keep an eye on this Haas car. He's making his way toward the stadium section. I think Kloppett's about to finish a lap as well. The other Aston Martin doesn't manage to improve too much. I think he's going to go on a lap now, so we'll come back to the Aston Martin if we manage to catch him. Only 2 likes on the stream so far, 7 watching. If you could leave a like, that would be really appreciated as Naif Clark crosses the line. It's a 17.1 from the Haas. A decent start to his Q1. Here comes Ayrton 2 crossing the line. He's starting a lap. I think his teammate is doing the same. There's Nicky. So keep an eye on that. Avi making his way around. I think this is his outlap. It is indeed. How about Lostock? Is it an outlap for him? No, he's on a lap, I think. So we'll keep an eye on their Aces. He's about to pin into the pit lane, it seems. Here comes Martin. He's fastest in Sector 2, but this is his first run of the session, so he won't count that too much. We've got 3 minutes and 50 left, so the last runs of the session should be coming in very, very soon. And here comes the Red Bull. It's a 16.7, good enough for P5. The Red Bull sat 4 and 5 at the moment. Ayrton on an in lap. Here comes Lostock. He's invalidated, but he's got plenty of time, perhaps. Oh, he's going to come into the pits. He should have enough time to come in and come back out again. How about Cloppett? He's going to put himself up into the top 5. Good showing for Aston Martin at the moment. Both cars in the top 5 fairly comfortably as well. It's looking very close, actually, in the at the front here. We've got Danev 2. It's here. It's where Nicky is on the 16.5, the 16.6, 16.7, 16.7, 16.8 and the 17.0s here as well. It's looking incredibly close among the field, especially as you reach the borders of the top 10. Let's go round. I think that's Avi coming across to complete a lap. He's 4.4 up, so this will be a better time from the Mercedes. Much more of a representative time for Avi. It's a 17.5, not good enough to see him out of the elimination zone. He is currently one of the 4 drivers at risk of being eliminated from this session. Dennis has got some time to go around as well. The Toe has started his first lap of the session as well. Lostock in the pits. If he doesn't manage to get in and out in time, this could be his qualifying over. I think he's actually leaving the pits as we speak. Yes, he is. There he goes. So he should get across the line in time to set a lap. Which Red Bull is this? This is Martin. He is starting his final run of the session. Cloppett just behind. He'll peel into the pit lane for sure. Yes, he does. How about Short Marcus? Is he on a lap? No, he is on an out lap though, so keep an eye on the Alfa Romeo. Ayrton 2 getting out of the way for the Mercedes of, I think it's Amir. It is Amir, who's not on a lap. He's on an out lap though, so a few drivers cutting it fine with their out laps, but they should just make it through. Speed Alcoholic out on circuit as well. Oh, he's been out on track for a long while, has the South African driver on his out lap. So lots of drivers making their way through. I'm trying to find somebody on a lap for you. This is Toe on a lap. He is not. How about Amaguna? No, he's not on a... Oh, he might be on a lap, actually. He's making his way through. Let's see if the Ferrari can improve on his previous time. It's looking decent for some sort of improvement from the Ferrari. It is. It's a 17.2. Doesn't improve his position, but it improves the time by a little bit. There's a McLaren crossing the line. But that's Ace is starting a lap. His teammate is about to start his lap too. Is Dennis on a lap? No, Dennis is on an out lap. So I'm trying to find the drivers on laps for you. Few drivers retiring. I think Short Marcus is going to be the first of the drivers on laps, making his way through the stadium section now. He'll have enough time to make another lap, but I don't think he'll have the power to do so. So this has got to be the one. He's comfortably within the top 10 thus far. It's a 17.1. No improvement from the Alfa Romeo. He might try and go again. Here comes Nath Clark. He's starting his lap. There's about 37 seconds left in this session, so plenty of time. Amir then, he's going to come across the line. He could go again, but he's not got enough battery, so this has got to be his lap. He's in the top 10 thus far. It's incredibly close if you're trying to get into the top 10 for the time being, but into the pits, crossing the pit line, that might be looked at by the stewards later on. Here comes Speed Alcoholic. No improvement from the South African. He's got time to go again, but I don't think he'll have the battery to set the most competitive of lap times. The Toe yet to set a lap time here. It's at 17.6. That's going to see him in the elimination zone, and I don't think... Oh, he might just have time to set another lap. Lostock is coming through as well. Ace is 17.4. He is one of a possible driver at risk. Lostock coming across the line just now. Can he get out of the bottom 4? No, he can't. So that's Lostock out. Dennis out as well. The Toe out as well. I think he's on a slow lap. So Avi is also out. That is a shock for the Mercedes driver. I'd have put him a bit further up the grid. Perhaps a poor lap as he went through. But I think that's going to be this Q1 session over, more or less. Yeah, the Toe's definitely on a slow lap, so we'll just wait for the game to filter out the rest of the drivers. But it's going to be Avi, the Toe, Denis Ivanov and Lostock, your drivers eliminated from this Q1 session. finish up the session so far, and Ayrton is the man to beat as always going in towards Q2. He's 3/10 ahead of Donev, who is looking pretty decent as well. Nicky looking quite good. I reckon he might improve on that lap time. The two Red Bulls of TF Martin and Myra looking quite good. A lot of Finnish drivers out there. Kloppit's another Finnish driver. All of the Finnish drivers in the top 10. So yes, indeed, hashtag Team Finland is the right way to go. But we're on to Q2 in about 20 seconds time. It'll be 5 drivers to drop off this time as we go into the top as we go into the fight for the top 10, as we lose Avi, the Toe, Denis Ivanov and Lostock. Haven't done so already, please do like the stream and of course subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. I appreciate all of the support that you can give me. I really am enjoying commentating over here on ESRL when I can, and that's with or without Ghost, of course. It's always better with Ghost in the comms box though, and I hope for a speedy recovery for my dear buddy. And it looks excuse me, looks a little overcast. We might see some rain perhaps in this qualifying session. If any of the drivers are in the chat, I'd love to know what the weather's up to at the moment, or at least what the weather's predicted to do. But yes, we are indeed waiting. I don't know why my stream's not live thus far, but we're underway. 15 minutes now for qualifying as we the first few cars make their way out. I think that is going to be the main Wayne out to the circuit. It does look incredibly overcast. I'm really wondering if it's going to rain, and if it does, that's going to be a rush out of the pit lane to get a dry lap on. This could be interesting if the rain does show up, but for the time being it's dry conditions, it's slick tyres, and it's qualifying a go, and the main Wayne is out first in that Haas. Haas, one of the 2 F1 teams so far to release at least the livery for their 2023 Challenger, and of course the Red Bull one, which looks exactly the same as last year. You may spot some slight position changes for some sponsors, but it's the exact same livery. Incredibly boring. A short track it is, Mexico City. It's only a 1 minute, about 1 minute 16, 1 minute 15 sort of lap, so a lot shorter than it seems. We'll get 36 laps of racing awaits us here in Division 1, but here we go then. The main Wayne is going to be the first driver to begin the runs here in Q2. Lots more drivers out in the early sessions. The Red Bulls are out. They look like they're going to be working together, using the toe to their effect as they begin this qualifying session. Maybe one driver giving the other the benefit of the slipstream. But we watch main Wayne making his way through Sector 1. That looked pretty tidy through the first 3 corners as the Haas makes his way down into Sector 2. This tight, twisty section. Got to try and nail all of these corners and really carry that momentum through them. This one's a tough one to get exactly right, but if you can do it like main Wayne has done so there, then you can really get a decent exit into this next speedy S section. Really got to be on the limit through these corners and really on your game. A little bit tentative through there, I think, a little bit shaky as he exited the final part of that S section, but through comes the Haas now as he comes into the stadium section. Tight corner here, another tight corner there, but navigates them well, does the Haas, making his way around, setting down the benchmark for this Q2 session. Looks like in the 16s. It's a 1 minute 17 dead on. Here comes Kloppit, the Aston Martin. Can he beat that time? I think he can. Not quite. He's a few hundredths of a second down. Here comes Vetsku, the other Finnish driver. 16.9. He sets down the benchmark for the time being. How about Ayrton 2? He's got the company of Nath Clark behind him, so Nath Clark will follow him at the end of this lap too. 17.8 for Ayrton 2. It's 16.8 for Nath Clark. Amaguna sets at 17.2, sorry, as its aces into the pit lane. TF Martin coming through now it's a 17-1 for that Red Bull. The other Finnish driver, championship leader, 16.5 from Myra, a decent time. How about Short Marcus? Short Marcus has invalidated his lap, so he will have to go around again. But that is about the first half of the drivers setting their lap times thus far, and it's Myra at the front. But the likes of Ayrton, Donev, Aces, Nicky, Amir, and Speed haven't made their way out. I say that Amir does make his way out onto the circuit. To begin his qualifying session here in Q2 with 10 minutes and 30 seconds left, so plenty of time for the drivers to make their way out. Just having a look, seeing what a few of the drivers are up to. Vetsku, I think, is going to be peeling into the pit lane, as well as Ayrton 2 perhaps. Or is this a second run for the AlphaTauri? No. He may have been distracted a bit by Nave Clark just behind him. Nave Clark only 3 tenths behind Myra, and once again it's looking very close in the midfield and at the top. We've got 17 dead, then about 7 hundredths of a second back is Kloppet, and then not too far behind that is Martin, Laguna as well. Very close qualifying times here, a few tenths between Nave Clark and Vetsku as well. Short Marcus, is he on a second attempt? Let's see. I think he is, as he makes his way around the final corner now. Let's see what he can do in that Alfa Romeo. It's a 16.5, so a new benchmark set. Amir's out on track now. He's beginning his lap time, so we'll follow along with him as he sets his first lap of this Q2 session. He's got a 1 minute 16.506 to beat. He's lost his teammate in the first qualifying session, so Avi will have some work to do. Rivals that became teammates way back when. I can't remember which one of the pair won the Tier 1 Division 1 championship in the past. I didn't follow ESRL too much. I did when I was called to action though, in the comms box. Amir making his way around through Sector 2 now. He's twisting corners through here, quite tricky. You've really got to have the right amount of downforce to just navigate them through there, crossing that line. Not purple, it's a 57.4 as he crosses the Sector 3 line, making his way through and into the stadium now. Using all of the track available to him is that Silver Arrow. Oh, and a big snap from the rear end, and he's going to abandon that lap and come into the pit lane. Not what he would have wanted. Here comes Nicky then. Nicky is on his first lap of the session. There's a little bit of traffic perhaps making its way around, but Nicky at 16.4, so ever faster are the times here in Division 1. Donev has just started his time. Aces versus Kings, meanwhile, is making his way through Sector 2 at the moment. Down towards the third sector he comes in that papaya orange McLaren. He's has lost his teammate in the first part of qualifying, so he'll be looking to try and get out. He's currently not got a lap time set. He's one of the 5 drivers at risk at present, but I'm sure he's got some time in him to get a bit further up. It's a 1 minute 17.5. It's not comfortable. He's the driver at risk at the minute, sat there in P10. Main Wayne, is he on a lap? I think this is a lap. No, he's not. No ERS, but he's on an out lap for sure. Ayrton still not out onto the track. Kloppet making his way around. Ayrton minimising his runs. He knows he's got the pace behind him. He knows he can set a lap and just afford to set 1 lap. It is risky though. You make 1 mistake and it's all over, potentially. So can never be too careful. But here comes Speed Alcoholic, the South African in the Scarlet Ferrari, making his way around. That looked very clean from the off-board shot. Is this a new benchmark? Not quite. It's a 16.821 though, adding to the already close times here in this Q2 session. Who's that? We got a Williams smoke. Excuse me, Williams making their way around. Ayrton 2 crossing the line, 17.6, not a great improvement from the AlphaTauri. He's in that drop zone, as you can see. Here comes TF Martin, he's starting a lap, so we'll come back to the Red Bull as he makes his way around. How about Amaguna making his way through? He's on an out lap as well. Amir on an out lap. How about the main Wayne? Is the main Wayne on a lap? He is making his way through the final couple of corners now. As he comes around that last corner, is it an improvement from the Haas? It is. It's a 16.8. Where we've got 3 drivers in the 16.8s. It's getting so close between them. Here comes Kloppet with the new benchmark of 16.2. So the Aston Martins looking very strong in this qualifying session. And speaking of, Eniar Ayrton is currently out on the track. Here comes Myra, championship leader. 16.5. He's starting his lap. So we'll come back to the Red Bull as he makes his way around. Ayrton 2, he's on an in lap. So he's going to have to come in, put on a new set of tyres, and try once more. Vetsku invalidated his lap time, speed alcoholic in lap. So we'll come back to Martin. He's fastest in the second sector. So keep an eye on this Red Bull. This could be a significant improvement from TF Martin, making his way around the final couple of corners, navigating them well, it seems, from the off-board shots. Here he comes. Is it going to be? It's a 16.0. So at the high 16s is TF Martin, one of the first drivers to reach that point, other than Ayrton, who went into the 1 minute 15s on his previous lap. Speaking of, he's crossed the line to start his first qualifying run of Q2. Here comes Amir. It's a 17.1. He is in that drop zone along with aces Ayrton 2, Donev and Eniar Ayrton, but don't expect those two to sit there for too much longer. Kloppet making his way in. Is that Myra finishing a lap? He would have been, but he's invalidated. He was 2 tenths up. He could have seen himself a bit further up. I think he's got just enough time to put a new set of tyres on and come through. So let's follow then Ayrton, the man to beat at the moment. We'll see where he can get himself. Kloppet's retired. He's done for this session. Let's watch Ayrton, car number 13. An unlucky number for some, but lucky for this man. Looking incredibly fast, using all the track available to him. Let's have a sip of tea before it goes cold. Making his way through the final couple of corners now. Here he is, the man to beat on the track. It's looking quick. It's a 15.5, a 5 tenths to find for the other drivers then. Well, at least for TF Martin, who is coming into the pit lane now. How about Amir? He's a driver in danger right now. Nothing yet. Donev, he's about to start his first lap of the session. Really getting some heat into those tyres on this outlap, weaving left and right and left and right in that Alpine. Aces on an outlap as well. I'd expect the final runs to start coming in right about now. Vetsku's on an outlap as well. As we try and find a driver who's out. Myra's just come out too. Nicky's in the pit lane. Ayrton 2, he's about to start a lap. So I think it will be, let's say Donev. Or is Kloppet out on a lap? No, Kloppet's in the pits, he's retired. So let us watch Donev then as he makes his way down towards turn 4. Only other driver yet to set a lap. A risky play going at the end of the session. But if he does make a mistake, I reckon he'll have at least enough time to try and rectify it on a second run. But here comes the Alpine then, using all the track available to him, swinging it left into this S section to start off these high-speed S's. It's truly a spectacle watching the cars come through here, and especially when they're racing wheel to wheel. But down this last DRS zone comes the Alpine, looking fairly tidy as he makes his way into the stadium section now. This tight hairpin and then through this twisty little section, careful not to invalidate, manages to navigate that curb well, round the final corner. Denef, it's looking like a decent time, it's a 15.6, so the only other driver to enter the 1 minute 15s is Denef, so Ayrton does have a challenger, but he's got some time to find. He's got just under a tenth, he's got about 9 hundredths of a second to find. Aces, can he get himself out the bottom 4, 5? We're yet to see that, as he is. Vetsku as well finds himself in the bottom 5, as well as Ayrton 2. The Haas car of Main Wayne is at risk as well. His teammate could be the same as well. Amaguna, he's not going to be able to make a lap, so he's done for this qualifying session. So there'll be at least 4 places, 4 drivers dropping out. Vetsku's retired. I think he's retired in the pit lane, so he doesn't think he can go any faster in this session. Speed Alcoholic is about to start a lap, as is Nath Clark. How about Amir? He is on a lap. No, he's starting one. I do apologise. How about Myra? Myra is on a lap. He's 2 tenths up now. 16.5 currently. Let's see him into the top 5 quite comfortably. Here's the Red Bull. Can he join his teammate Martin toward the front end? Let's see as he comes through. It's a 16.3, so top 5 for Red Bull and Aston Martin. So they're all up there. How about Donev? Donev peeling into the pit lane then. So we watch then as Aces attempts to get out of the drop zone. At the moment he's 3 tenths down on his previous best. If he's going to find time, he's got to find it here in this stadium section. Navigating these final few corners now and into this last one. Making his way around in that McLaren. Can he put it into the top 10? It's not looking likely. No, Aces is going to be out of the session then. How about Ayrton 2? He's 1.1 seconds down. It's not looking likely for the Alpha Tauri either. How about the Main Wayne? No, yeah, it's the Main Wayne. He does improve up to P6. I couldn't quite catch him in time. Speed Alcoholic making his way around the circuit as a Haas cuts across the final couple of corners. Hopefully not impeding. The Speed Alcoholic does improve by 2 tenths, but doesn't improve his position. Can Amir get himself out of the drop zone? No, he does just about. Actually, a 16.7 sees him into P10, and that's going to drop Nath Clark into that drop zone and out of Q2. Some drivers I wouldn't expect to see down there. Nath Clark among them. Maybe some poor runs from the Haas. Amir just getting through by the skin of his teeth there. Hello, Close. Nice of you to catch John in. Yeah, Nath Clark really has had a bit of a fall from grace. But maybe this just isn't his circuit, and maybe he can make up some places in the race. You never know what will happen. But then we move on. NER Ayrton continuing to be at the front in this qualifying session, but Donev closing in on the Danish driver. I couldn't think of the word there. 9 hundredths of a second back. We've got our top 10 for the top 10 shootout then, and the driver's unlucky enough not to make it to Q3 are Nath Clark, Amaguna, F1 Vetsku, GFO DTS Ayrton, and Aces versus Kings. The top 10 shootout is just around the corner. Can't stay long, but wanted to drop in and give a like. Have a good race all, and thanks for covering for me. No problem, Ghost. I'd have been here whether you were here or not, I think, tonight, unless I was working, of course. But shame you can't be in the box with me, or the metaphorical box, that is. But yes, always happy to cover and come and watch ESRL and see what these guys are up to. It's Q3 time now, 12 minutes on the clock. It's the top 10 shootout, as Crofty would coin it. And we've got 10 of the best drivers here in ESRL looking to make a mark. Nicky, TF Martin, Myra, Donev, NER Ayrton, Amir, Speed Alcoholic, the Main Wayne, Short Marcus, and Cloppet. The Main Wayne not making his way out onto track. It's Cloppet, the Finnish driver. Only 2 Finnish drivers in this top 10, I believe. So F1 Vetsku out. The Vetsku fans, I'm sure, will not be too happy with that. If you're in the live chat right now, I'd like, if you want to make some predictions for your pole sitter this evening, I think it might be fairly obvious, but you never know what will happen in Formula 1. And Kloppet is making his way out. Doesn't look like that rain is coming. It looks like it's brightened up for Q3. Just look very overcast. Possibly some rain for the race. That would spice things up for sure. Here we go then. Aston Martin making his way into Sector 3 now. He'll be the first driver to make his way out. Let's get some details up for you folks. Everybody on the soft tyres, of course. Utilising the softest rubber available in the Pirelli range. There we go, Kloppet starting the first run. He started us off in Q1 and he starts us off here in Q3. Car number 99 making his way down this incredibly long straight. I don't know how long it is precisely, but it's a long one indeed. As Kloppet makes his way through. And he's invalidated on that third corner. You could see he just took a bit too much curb in the entry to turn 3. And that's going to see him done. So we could ride on along with our championship leader then, Myra, who might get a little bit of a tow from that Aston Martin, who's pulled out of the way. So good etiquette. There's no ghosting here in ESRL, remember. It's completely elite settings. No line, no assists, and no ghosting. So especially if you're a car under blue flags, you must get out of the way, lest you cause an unnecessary incident. Anyway, Myra making his way through the S section. Car number 7, donning the number of the amazing Kimi Raikkonen, championship winner of 2007, of course, and a driver and a fan favourite among the Formula 1 fans. I think he's been doing this in NASCAR, I think, of late. Hopefully they have given him plenty of drink over in the States. But round comes Myra in the Red Bull to set us off for Q3. It's a 16.2, I think his best lap of the session so far, and his teammate TF Martin, he's invalidated, he's into the pit lane. So Short Marcus will be the next driver, also invalidated. So we watch Amir then in the Mercedes make his way through Sector 2. This is the session where it matters, but of course there's no points for qualifying. No points for a Saturday, that's what I like to say when watching Formula 1. That was very deep from Amir, a big mistake from the Mercedes. I don't think this will be an incredibly quick lap time. Managing not to invalidate, backed off enough to not do so. I think he might pull into the pits here. Let's see if he backs off or he finishes the lap. Looks like he's going to peel in, yes, so he backs off. Doesn't finish the lap. Danev choosing not to wait till the end this time. He's out immediately. Maybe he's got some extra soft tyres to work with and can really get the most of it. But a 15.5, that's faster than Ayrton's best time at the moment, I think. So Donev is sat on pole provisionally for the time being. How about Nicky in the Alpha Tauri? 15.8, so another driver enters the 1 minute 15s. His qualifying session is certainly heating up already. Here comes Myra, he's on an in lap, so no lap from him. How about Kloppet? I think he's trying again. He's invalidated for the second time in this session. The main lane's out on an out lap. So we'll see Short Marcus making his way through. That looked fairly quick at 56.7 through the middle sector. As he enters into the stadium now. Alfa Romeo, that red and white car, the only Alfa Romeo on track at this session. A 16.2, slowest of the runners so far. Look who's out on track. It's Ayrton. I think he's got some damage. What's going on there? Maybe it's just low fuel. Nicky is on an in lap. Watch Speed Alcoholic then, the South African, make his way down in towards Sector 3 now. Where can he put himself? Provisionally, at least, in his qualifying session. We're about halfway through now, or approaching that halfway mark about 20 seconds or so to reach it at speed. Alcoholic rounds the final corner. He'll be looking to set a quick lap time. It's a 16.9, even slower than short markers, so not the best start to his Q3 campaign at the time being. Here comes the main Wayne in the Haas. Has been putting in some excellent performances here in Division 1, and is a driver that will sure to make some moves in, and is in Q3 for very good reason. Around that final corner, the white Haas makes his way through the main lane, looking like a decent time for him. A 16.7, he goes quicker than Speed Alcoholic. Here he is then, Ayrton, the man to watch. 56.2 in the middle sector for the Aston Martin. This is the man who currently sits on 52 points after a crash last week in Canada. He'll be looking to make up for that. Here he comes across the line. It's a 15.3. There is time still left in that Aston Martin as he goes even quicker. Don Ev will be wanting to accept that challenge. He'll be hoping that he can get that time and go even faster than Ayrton. Ayrton is just an alien, it seems, behind the wheel of that Aston Martin. Near into the pit lane, then not the session he was hoping for at the moment. No laps set, and it's not long left of the session as he makes his way in. Cloppett still out on track, looking for that first lap of Q3. He's had a few failed attempts. He'll be hoping that this one is a better run. His way through now, slowing it right down, ready for that out lap, or the beginning of that out lap. The only driver out on track who's about to start a lap, so we'll follow along with Cloppett once more. Hopefully this time he can keep it within the white lines. As Nicky makes his way out onto the circuit. Into the first three corners now, and he's invalidated once again. Same place. Cloppett can't afford too many more invalidations like that, especially if he wants to get any higher than P10. So another mistake from the other side of the Aston Martin garage. Currently an Aston Martin sandwiching the rest of the grid. A grid-filled Aston Martin sandwich. I don't know, a grid sandwich. However you want to call it, I don't know, it's all up for debate really, isn't it? However you want to slice it, pun intended. I watched Nicky then in the Alpha Tower, the only other driver to make it into the 15.8s here in Mexico this evening. And he'll be looking to maybe upset the apple cart off the top two and get himself onto that front row. If he can make up about 3 tenths or 5 tenths and maybe go ahead of Ayrton. Let's see what the Alpha Tauri can do. Long run down in this first 3 DRS zones at this track. Remember, it's a double DRS zone around here. They are awful, I do agree with Ghost. And oh, big moment for Nicky, just keeping it out of the wall. But a big spin as he gives it a little bit too much and suffers with some oversteer on the exit of that first corner. Let's watch Cloppett now. It's on a lap maybe. How long have we got left? 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So these could be the final runs for some drivers as they make their way through. Nicky will hope that the tyres aren't too badly worn after that half spin he had there out of turn 3, but round comes Cloppett. No invalidations thus yet, making his way into the S section now. Easy to invalidate here too, but navigating it well at the time being. Can he get into the top 5, maybe closer to his teammate to give him some support during the race? Into the stadium section now is the Aston Martin, quickly down to second gear as he makes his way through that hairpin, actually third gear, never mind. and through into the final corner now, climbs up the gears, does the Aston Martin, crosses the line. It's a 16.3. I'm not sure I'll have enough battery left to set another competitive lap, so that could be clop it over for this qualifying session. Short Marcus, he's on an outlap, so he'll have plenty of time to go again, as is Speed Alcoholic on an outlap as well for the main Wayne. See who else is out on the track. Amir, he's on a lap right now, making his way through sector 3. Round that hairpin he comes. He'll be looking to try and get as high up as he can, maybe into that top 5. That'll be where he'll be hoping to get into, maybe even further than that. Here we go, 16.6 for the Mercedes. Not the best time. Is that Myra? It is. He's invalidated and he's actually coming in. So that's his qualifying over in the Red Bull. Donev unable to improve, but he's starting his lap now. Martin goes ahead of his teammate, and that's his qualifying session over. He's going to be P4 provisionally. Is that Cloppett? No, it's Ayrton. He's out on the track now too. He's starting a lap. So we'll keep an eye on the Danish driver making his way through. Nicky, I'm not sure he'll be able to improve unless he can find some time here in this last couple of seconds of the session. It's going to be, it's a 15.9. Just shy of his last time by 700ths of a second. No improvement. How about Cloppett in the other Aston Martin? I think he's going to try one more lap at the dying moments of the session. Short Marcus, meanwhile, he goes into the 16 zeros. That's P5 for the Alfa Romeo for the time being. That's his qualifying session finished. Speed Alcoholic has invalidated his lap time. That's it. That's qualifying over for the Ferrari, as the time has finally run out. Amir on his final attempt to get a little bit higher. He's going to come across the line. Yes, he is. It's no improvement from the Mercedes. How about the main Wayne? Invalidated his lap time. Donev, has he got anything left? No. How about Ayrton? I don't think he's invalidated, so it's all eyes on TF Martin, who's had a moment, it seems, at the S section, so that's his qualifying over. Nicky has invalidated his lap, so that is it. That is everything for qualifying. I think Nate Clark's going to have to leave. That's a shame. We're going to lose a driver before the race has even begun. But that is your qualifying session, and what a qualifying session it was. Donev looked like he might have had a go at NER Ayrton, but the man himself, NER Ayrton, is just an alien. Just waiting for the game to sort itself out, and I'll run you through our top 10. Interesting race on the cards for certain. Phone on charge while I get the track. Well then, after a grueling qualifying session, NER Ayrton comes out on top. He was fastest in every single qualifying session, and I'm not surprised at all. Donev was hot on his heels and gave it his best, but lines up on the front row with Ayrton. Nicky and TF Martin make up row number 2, with Short Marcus and our championship leader Myra on the third row. His fellow countryman and Amir make up row 4, with row 5 going the way of the main Wayne and Speed Alcoholic, who rounds off the top 10. An interesting race we have here on hand. I hope you guys are going to enjoy. Leave any predictions in the chat if you so wish, and make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the stream if you're with us at the moment, or of course watching after the fact. All of the support does go a very long way. Looking overcast again. Again, I say if any drivers are currently in the live chat, I would love to know what the weather's doing. Get us excited for a maybe dry to wet race. But we've got 19 drivers on the grid, 18 because Nath Clark's going to have to leave, I think, which is a shame. It would have been nice to have everybody be able to compete, but that's sometimes overcast, no rain. Thank you, Marcus. So no rain on the cards. Here we go then, 10 seconds, and we will get this race going. God, it's been 59 minutes already, really. Wow. An hour for qualifying, about 45 minutes or so for the race. Here we go, formation lap is underway. And we'll get all of the information up for you, and we'll have a look and see what our tyres are up to. A small majority, or a handful of cars even, 6 I think, on the medium tyres. Everybody else opting for the mediums. The top 2 on the hard tyres, with Nicky going for that more aggressive start on the medium compound, with TF Martin on the hards, and Short Marcus following suit with the man in P3. Myra sits on the hard tyres, so a joint strategy for Red Bull, with Cloppett on a split strategy from his teammate, who sits on pole position. The next 4 cars are Mir, Main Wayne, Speed Alcoholic and Nath Clark, all opting for the hard tyres, with Amaguna opting for the mediums. F1 Vetsku hard. Ayrton 2 is on the medium tyres. Aces vs Kings is on the hard tyre. Avi on the hard tyre, and the final 3 cars for Toe, Dennis Ivanov and Lostock on the hards as well. So some split strategies here. Some drivers opting to be more aggressive at the beginning and a little slower at the end, whereas others are opting for the inverse. Interesting mix throughout the grid. I'm sure it's due to spit up some drama. Can NER Ayrton claw back some points, get back in the lead of this championship? Can Myra make his way from P6 onto the podium and try and put up some defence of that lead he has thus far? Can Donev or Speed Alcoholic, or who was the other driver I said at the beginning? I cannot remember. I'd love to be able to, though, before the race starts. Driver standings. Oh, well, I suppose TF Martin, can they mount a challenge? It'll be yet to be seen, but the drivers are lining up on the grid. We are going to go racing here in Mexico City in a very short time. A few drivers disqualified as they missed their pit box. Set them back a few meters. Well, meters, but a little bit. We have 5 red lights, and we're away for the Mexico City Grand Prix. It looks like a tentative start from the guys at the top. The Red Bull of TF Martin gets an incredible start. It's free ride already as they go down towards turn 1. NER Ayrton's under some pressure as well. TF Martin and Nicky have got great starts. Donev is 4 wide in towards turn 1. This can only go one way, but they all managed to find their way through in very good faith at the moment, keeping it clean. The drivers on the grid. It's a little bit hectic toward the back as well, but some great starts here. Short Marcus up 2 places already. He's got a great start in that Alfa Romeo. Nicky up 1 place too. He flew off the line. That's what TF Martin did as well, but he's lost out to Donev, and he's also lost out to Short Marcus and Nicky as well. But Ayrton already making progress and opening up that gap in the meantime. Main Wayne, Amir and Vetsku all fighting away toward the back as well. Side by side go the Mercedes of the Toe. And oh, there goes the Mercedes of Avi, and he's spun. I think he's lost some front wing, but he's still in this race. He's going to be gutted about that. Let's get the tyre strategies up, and let's go along board. Let's see where the action lies. Vetsku mounting a challenge. He's got both the Haas cars for company, and he made a little mistake. That invites Nath Clark up the inside of the Williams now, and he's going to get up a place and try and join his teammate, but both Williams cars seem to be fighting, one against an Alpine, one against the Haas. They're 2 by 2 as they come down this main straight at the moment, and it's looking like Nath Clark is going to have the advantage. He pulls ahead of the Williams. The other Williams under threat from the toe, going down the inside, braking as late as he dares. Gets ahead of Denis Ivanov. And up into P15. Meanwhile, Ayrton 2 is fighting off the McLaren, and the McLaren has made some contact. I think that's Aces, who's half spun and way down the order now. Meanwhile, back at the front, Nicky is closing in on Ayrton. This medium strategy working out for the AlphaTauri at the time being. You'll want to make the most of that advantage while he has it. Short Marcus. A great start to this race at the moment since P3. 3-second time penalties for Nath Clark already. We're only 2 laps into this race and the penalties are being dished out already. Ferrari's running well. It's 2 Ferraris, then 2 Red Bulls in positions 5 through 8 at the moment. I think it's Red Bull who lead this championship, if I'm not mistaken. They're on 109 points. They'll be fighting. They'll be looking to fight with Ferrari, so a constructors' battle is emerging in the mix. Meanwhile, Vetsku has got past Nath Clark, who has retired in the pit lanes finally. He has had to go. Unfortunately, the toe and Denis Ivanov once again fighting away. The toe looking to get up the inside of the Williams once again. He must have swapped places a little bit along. Nicky closing in on Ayrton, so Ayrton feeling the pressure on this opening stint at the time being. I'll try and catch some of that action as well. Sorry to hear that, Nath Clark. I hope it's nothing serious or anything like that, but yes, thanks for joining us anyway for qualifying. As Ayrton 2 takes advantage of the fighting between Toe and Ivanov and gets himself up a place down along the grid, trying to keep an eye on as much of the action as possible. Speed Alcoholic has made his way past Moira, so the Red Bulls and the Ferraris intermingled with one another, and this is a battle to keep an eye on actually, as Moira, our championship leader, fights with Speed Alcoholic and his teammate for this Constructors' Championship, as well as some well needed Drivers' Championship points. It's almost like deja vu, but the other way round. I watched lap after lap as a Red Bull was chased by a Ferrari. Now I must watch as a Red Bull chases a Ferrari, as a Ferrari chases a Red Bull. And oh, Nicky and Ayrton making moves. Nicky has made his way past. DRS assisted, of course, makes his way past on the assist. So Nicky has got some decent race pace as he starts. He'll want to try and break away. I just missed the move, but I just caught it in the nick of time to sort of comment on it, and that's Speed and Moira battling away as well. Moira's made a move. It's going to invite Armaguna and Kloppet as well. It's going to be 3 wide down towards turn 4, and the Aston Martin's going to swoop around the outside of Speed Alcoholic, and he's going to get up 2 places or 3 places because of all this fighting as well. So a great opportunity to move from the Aston Martin. Great stuff from the Finnish driver. This is incredible racing. NER Ayrton keeping Nicky honest. He knows he's got at a disadvantage on this opening stint, but NER Ayrton is a very quick driver. He's always the man to beat. As I say, Speed looks like he's made a bit of a mistake, finds himself now sandwiched by the 2 Williams cars. The other Mercedes, it's hell for Mercedes right now. 3-second time penalty for Nicky, it seems, for corner cutting. Yes, 3-second time penalty for Nicky. That's not going to go well against him at the end of the race, especially if Ayrton finishes within that time. Ayrton's not one to make too many little mistakes and get penalties. Speaking of, I think he's going to be forced to go for the move. Looks to the inside, doesn't quite get along. Given the room is the Aston Martin, but doesn't make a way through. A little bit of contact. That's going to invite Short Marcus into the fray now as well. He's on that softer compounder tyre, so he have the advantage over the Aston Martin. A little bit of contact. Lucky not to take each other out there. Ayrton yields to the Alfa Romeo of Short Marcus, who gets himself up into P2. Ayrton falling back. There's a 5-car battle for the race lead at the moment. Incredible stuff. Five horses in this race. Nicky with a 3-second time penalty is technically at the back. Your provisional leader right now is Marcus as far as penalties are concerned, but NER Ayrton should not be counted out at all, and lots of drivers using their ERS. TF Martin with some decent ERS management, and Nicky's trying to open up that gap now. He knows Ayrton has got a car in front of him now. And so, oh, and there goes Donev. That's a huge mistake from the Alpine. He'll be gutted to have made that. Is Kloppet going to go around the outside? He is. Cutting the corner is the Alpine. Kloppet all the way around the outside, up into P5. This Aston Martin is having a great race. His teammate is having to work for his one. Here comes Amaguna now. He's going to go around the outside of this Alpine. Could it invite him to make a move on Kloppet? Probably not. He's got no ERS left in the tank. Poor management from the Ferrari, but it's not going to stop him from having a look. Tries to go around the outside using that overspeed. Doesn't find a way through. It's the Ferrari. He'll want to try and save some of that battery, but he's going to go on the attack once again as they come down this straight. I'm keeping an eye on all the other gaps, but this one looks quite promising here as we come down towards turn 4, but there's nothing made of it. The Ferrari not close enough to mount an attack. Lots of action to keep up with, lots of drivers all close together. This is what I like to see when I'm out here commentating. The Toe and Avi making up places. The Mercedes having an awful start to this race. They're making up places though. They're going to have to work together and not against one another. The driver on the softer compounded tyre though currently sits behind. Will team orders come into effect? Ivanov gets himself a 3-second time penalty. The third driver to do so. Nave Clark was obviously the first, but he's out of this session. Donev's got some work to do to make up places. Lots of drivers battling away. This is great stuff. Ayrton, meanwhile, made his way past Marcus. I missed that move, but Nicky has got 1.8 seconds to the Danish driver. So a great start to his race-leading campaign. He's got to manage that gap now and maybe try and pull away while he has the advantage. So Marcus will want to make some moves as well. Amaguna making a move on Kloppet down the main straight. Not much assist from the ERS, but neither of them have much. So these two are going to be a sort of a roadblock for the hard drivers, the drivers on the hard tyre ahead. So it's all aboard the Guna train, which seems to be swapping its lead car as Kloppet now is going to try and make a move into turn 4. As you know, he sits back quite sensibly. Close, Donev gets under braking in that Alpine. Not close enough to make any contact though, thankfully. Short Marcus meanwhile keeping Ayrton honest. He's got TF Martin for company though. That Red Bull is no stranger to the front of the grid, so he'll be trying to stay with the Alfa Romeo. Things have calmed down a little bit as Ayrton has dropped back a little bit more. So Nicky really doing well to manage that gap, and his ERS as well. So Nicky looking really strong for the lead of this race at the moment. We've got an incident. That's the Williams. That looks like Vetsku. No, not Vetsku, sorry. Ivanov, Dennis. Has a moment at the S's, but he seems to have continued on. No damage on that Williams car for the time being. Donev chasing Kloppet, chasing Guna, being chased by Moira and the main lane, and Vetsku as well. Lots of action up and down the grid. The short Marcus trying to find some way through. Kloppet getting close to the back of that Ferrari. Maybe a move imminent in towards turn 4, perhaps, if Aston Martin can get close enough, but he's got no ERS to play with, no advantage over his fellow driver. It is incredibly close, Ash, indeed. And some contact there as the Alpine hits the back of that Aston. Maybe some damage to the front ring of that Alpine now, but incredibly close. But the Aston stays ahead at the minute, unsettled by the contact made at the moment. Incredibly close stuff. Here comes Donev down the inside of that Aston Martin. The move is made. No damage maybe, but we can't really tell. Nicky, no! He's had an incident. He's spun in the S's and he's got damage. He was looking so good for the lead of this race in his first stint and has dropped the ball. And that invites Ayrton straight back in. So if he can't shake these cars behind him, Ayrton's going to run away with this. And I think Nicky's had another moment. Oh, it's all gone so horribly wrong for the AlphaTauri, who's leading this race, having an incredible first stint, and now finds himself outside of the top 10. And another 3-second time penalty to boot. Where has it all gone wrong for the AlphaTauri? An unplanned pit stop indeed. A shame for Nicky, who was running an incredible race. And he's retired in the pit lane as well. He's had enough this evening. That was a bit too much for the AlphaTauri driver. Kloppet still chasing after Donev. These two have had a few skirmishes already on track. Lost off 3-second time penalty for corner cutting once again. And Martin making some moves. Here's Ayrton going around the outside. Maybe I can't quite see. Thanks, Codemasters, for this poor camera angle. Oh, excuse me for this poor camera angle. Someone who is going around the outside, though, is Avi around the outside of that double right-hander. And that's a great move from Avi. Opportunistic to get past that Williams. Plenty of action up and down the grid. The main lane fighting away. 3-second time penalty for Aces versus Kings now. As drivers testing the limits and being slapped with penalties by the stewards at the moment. Here comes the main Wayne. He's making a move on Cloppett, the other Aston Martin, and it's going to be a fairly simple one, it seems, as he makes his way through. Does Cloppett attempt any sort of fight back? Not really. Lets him go. Looks toward the outside though for the next part of the corner. Has the inside? Maybe no. Tries to scare the main Wayne a little bit, but now Vetsku's going to get involved in this fighting as well. He's going to go and have a go at Cloppett. Gets ahead. Cloppett losing 2 places in the space of 3 corners. Ivanov and Ayrton too chasing after Avi for P11 at the moment. The fight outside of the top 10. Lots of battling going on. The 2 McLarens trying to work their way back into this race after some poor incidents and a poor qualifying from Lostock. Meanwhile, TF Martin and Short Marcus are doing a great job to keep Avi on it, Ayrton honest at the moment. So Ayrton feeling some pressure for the time being. Maybe not the best track for Ayrton, but I'm sure he's just biding his time. This strategy though is going to start to fall away now if you're on the medium compounder tyre. They're approaching the end of their life, so I'd expect some medium runners to start coming in the next few laps as we go along, where the hards can go for a lot longer around here. They probably won't be coming into the round, I want to say laps at 19, something like that, at 19, 18, something like that. It's around halfway. Lots of drivers close together, but not too many actions. Some DRS trains, it seems, forming. That's Aces versus Kings. He's retired in the pit lane as well. We've lost 3 cars already. That's such a shame for the beginning of this race. Another time penalty. It's 3 seconds for Vetsku now in the Williams. And then for Donev in the Alpine. The time penalty is coming in thick and fast here in Division 1. Meanwhile, the battle at the front is continuing on. Ayrton's trying to open up that gap now. That tyre advantage is starting to fall away from Marcus. He's in a great space though. He had a great start to this race, seeing himself up in the top 3. But I think Martin is going to see that he's dropped away from Ayrton now, and this could be the chance for the Red Bull to pounce. I think it is, yeah. Opens up that battery. Marcus knows he's under some pressure now. Still got the toe from the Aston Martin ahead of him, so keeping that Red Bull away. But look how he closes in under braking as well. Confidence on the brakes from the Red Bull, looking for a good exit out of turn 3 at the moment. He'll look for a run in towards turn 4. Will he? No, he's not going to be quite close enough. So sticking behind Alfa Romeo, who's still doing a good job to keep with Ayrton. I think he's set up maybe a little bit more aligned to these twistier sections, perhaps. Meanwhile, a bit further back, Vetsku and Myra and Main Wayne and Cloppett all still fighting away for P6 at the moment among the midfield. A great battle these guys are having right now. Again, Short Marcus falling away. Maybe he's got that straight line oriented build, but or set up even. I don't know, it's hard to tell sometimes when you're on the off-boards, but drivers having a good race so far. Too much drama on the track. It's quite tame for the moment, but Donev gets past Amaguna, who is the first driver into the pit lane. Then for his planned pit stop onto the hard tyres goes the Ferrari, getting rid of those old mediums, and he'll come out just behind this fight outside the top 10, I think. maybe just behind the McLaren, or just ahead of the McLaren. Zeniar Ayrton is still being chased by the Alfa Romeo and that Red Bull. Doing well to stay with him is short, Marcus, within that second range. This is good. It means pit stops might go well, and if he can get a decent run on those hards and get some lap times in, he could come away. But Ayrton is trying to break that at the moment. Short Marcus has the disadvantage on ERS in a minute, and he's also got Martin putting the pressure on as well, and he's getting even closer now. Could this be Martin's chance to make a move? He's all over the back of that Alfa Romeo looking for a way through. I think the detection point, I don't think he's been picked up in there. So, yeah, Marcus is in the pits anyway, so he unleashes Martin to go chasing after Ayrton now. And he's going to have the DRS as well, so this will help him propel himself through, and it will be doubled as well. So this could help Martin and put more pressure onto Ayrton, who is going to be feeling it, I think, from the Red Bull. Short Marcus will come out just behind Avi, it seems. Yes, on those hard tyres. So he's got to get a good run in, warm them up as quickly as he possibly can, and set some decent lap times in order to get ahead and hope that Martin can put some pressure on Ayrton and maybe make him fight and use those tyres a bit more to slow him down just that little bit. And then Short Marcus will get himself involved when they come in for their pit stops. All about the Myra train at the moment. There's Main Rain, Vetske and Kloppet all still looking away. And Don Evers broken away from this lot. So it's Myra the toe, 5-second time penalty, speeding in the pit lane. Easy mistake to make, but a costly one indeed. There's battling going on. This is the battle we're going to keep an eye on though as we go along. Martin says the fastest lap of the race, and he's closing in on Ayrton, but Ayrton knows he's there, so he's keeping him at bay for the time being. But slowly that Red Bull approaches. Does he go for a move? He's going to look to the inside. Yes, here we go. Side by side they go into the first couple of the corners. Ayrton's got the advantage going into turn 2. Tucked behind goes the Red Bull. No way through. He's just got a wall of green at the moment, but he uses that ERS and the DRS. He's going to challenge Ayrton for the lead now. Down the inside, I think this could be a fairly simple move. Ayrton tucks in behind the Red Bull. Martin takes the lead of this race, and this is what Short Marcus needs in order for him to catch back up to these guys when the pit stops come. They need to squabble. Martin needs to put on the defence of his life now and keep this Aston Martin at bay. But I think with the nature of the straights on this track, I'm not sure how long he's going to be able to do that. Ayrton's got a lot of spare battery left, whereas Martin has used a lot of it to get past Ayrton and catch him on that previous lap. These guys all still together. Vetske very close to the back of that Haas car at the moment. I'm keeping my eye on the battles up and down the grid, trying to find you the best bits of racing action in order to see everything going on the circuit. We've got 4 cars fighting away for P4 at the moment. Our championship leader among them, doing a great job heading this train. Oh, who's that off track? That's not Vetske, is it? No, it's Dennis off at the S section again. That is a shame for him. Another spin, another incident for Dennis. And meanwhile, in the battle for P10, Amir has got his way past Amaguna, who's fresh out of the pits. 3-second time penalty for him. Ayrton 2 into the pit lane. They're coming off those medium tyres right about now. Let's move to the front. Ayrton looks like he's on the attack once more. He's close to the back of Martin, but he's not close enough. Martin doing a good job to keep him behind, but he's not got a lot of battery left. I'm sure Ayrton will be seeing that red flashing light on occasion now. Amir and Amaguna once again fighting away. I think they're going to switch positions once more. It's DRS once more for Amir, the Mercedes, and he's going to shoot past that Ferrari. Does the Ferrari keep himself stuck in there? Does he look to the inside? He had a look, had a try, but backed out sensibly. Kloppet has dropped away. That'll be a shame for him, but the tyre advantage has done that for him as Amaguna once again gets ahead of Amir. These two swapping places like there's no tomorrow. Denis Ivanov has now retired. We've lost 5 drivers from this race. Such a shame to lose so many. Thankfully they've not crashed, but they've retired because they didn't want to continue to participate in the event. In comes Kloppet now for his stop. The last of the medium runners in, so the hard runners won't be far behind to follow them. Here comes Ayrton, he's closing and closing. Does he make a move into turn 4? No, he just uses it to close up. He's staying with Martin. He knows he doesn't need to pass him. He knows that the fighting's only going to do them harm. He needs to stay with him, work with him, and see what happens. Let's see what the gap is to short Marcus. It's 22.2 seconds. I'm not sure how much time you lose under a pit stop here, but Marcus is just crossing that sector 1 line now. He's got to put some laps in and really start to work away at that gap. The 4-car battle has now become a 3-car battle with Kloppet making his way to the pit lane, but when the round of pit stops and the hard runners come in, that's when those early stops may come into play with the undercut sufficing, but all the other drivers will be on medium compound tyres and will be significantly faster. Here we go, Ayrton getting close again, not fighting quite sensibly once more. Martin needs to try and save some ERS, but he knows he's got Ayrton breathing down his neck. No red light yet on that Red Bull, but I'm sure it's been appearing from time to time. Ayrton knows he's got the advantage here, and he's just biding his time. Ayrton knows how to win a race, control a first place situation. He's been on the front so many times, whether he's on his own or having to fight other cars for the lead. But we'll see what happens as we continue on. Still the battle for P5 rages on. These guys seemingly inseparable from one another. Pit stops may split them up, or they may all decide to come in at the same time. Let's see what the guys at the front are up to. No stops just yet from Ayrton or Martin. He's going to open up that DRS and close up to the back of that Red Bull once again. The Red Bull not got a lot of VRS left to use. Ayrton could go on an attack here. He's closing and closing in. Defensive goes the Red Bull round the outside. Tries Ayrton. Not quite this time. Not close enough to make a move, or perhaps just backing off quite sensibly, taking the racing line and focusing on this next part of the straight. And making his move into turn 4 perhaps. No. Again, he doesn't want to fight him. He wants to continue to hold this gap. Let's continue to have a look. Where is short Marcus? He's closed down now by a couple of seconds. Mir is now in the pits. First of the hard runners to stop. Onto the mediums goes the Mercedes. So he'll be looking to try and make up some time. His teammate Avi was on the medium compound tyres, and he's going to come out ahead. Oh, Amir's going to come out behind, sorry, his teammate. Mercedes, awful start to the race, and I'm really paying for it. They'll be hoping for some form of safety car at some stage in this race, but everything looking pretty clean at the moment as we continue to go on. Ayrton, he's not as close as he was last lap, but he's just continuing to stay within reach of Martin. Martin really not got a lot of VRS left to use. He'll gain some back once he stops, but he's used a lot in this fight at the front at the moment, and that's going to play into Ayrton's hands. Ayrton's almost got a full battery. He's just sitting there charging it. He's not. I don't think he's even worried. He could probably not do. He could probably get rid of the ERS and DRS and still be fine. Kloppet makes his way past the McLaren of Lost Doc, who's yet to come in as well. Fresh tyres on this Aston Martin. He'll be looking to get back in this fight for P4 with Myra, Main Wayne and Vetsku, who quite sensibly as well aren't fighting each other, but Main Wayne is very close to the back of that Red Bull. He might be looking to try and make a move in the next few laps, or is somebody going to come into the pit lane? The leaders certainly aren't. They're going to continue, I think, or will they? I don't know. I was looking at the wrong pair of cars actually. And Near looks like he's about to set a move up on Ayrton 2 in the meantime. See if I can catch that. Not quite. He's not quite close enough on this occasion. No one. Oh, here we go. Martin into the pit lane. First of the front runners in to the pits. Will his teammate or any of the guys in the battle for fourth, follow them in? How about Amir? Is he making a move? No, not quite close enough on this occasion. But where is Martin coming out? He's going to come out just behind this fight, I think, into clear air. His teammate did come in double stack at Red Bull, so this could be quite good for them. There's short Marcus. Oh, is he going to be quite close enough? He needs to get this move done now. This is where he's got to attack, and he's going to do it. He had the DRS as well from the car behind, so he gets ahead of TF Martin. This is very important for the Alfa Romeo, and he's got to continue to press. Martin is not going to be happy with that. He's got the cold tyres at the minute. He'll have the DRS though, so when Ayrton does come in, he could get ahead. These guys could be racing as Ayrton comes out of the pit lane. We'll have to wait and see what the Danish driver does with his pit stop when he decides to come in, if it's going to be soon. He's coming in through sector 3 just now. We'll keep an eye on it as well. Mainwain and Vetsku as well. They're at risk of the undercut from Myra, who has just come out and is in some clear air. Maybe catching up to Amaguna, who was in this... No, it was not in this fight. Kloppet's the big loser here, has lost out some time and is actually not in this fight anymore. Seemingly. Ayrton's in the pits then, so where are they going to come out? Donev will take the lead of the race provisionally. There's the main Wayne and Vescu. It's short Marcus and Martin that we're keeping an eye on. I think Ayrton is making his way out of the pit lane, so look to the right of the screen as we make our way along. Ayrton is going to be on the right. Is he going to come out? They're going to come out among it. Short Marcus through. Oh, this is going to be incredibly tight as they go down towards turn 1. Here comes Martin. It's going to be free wide as they go into the first corner. A little bit of bumping made. Nowhere to go for the Red Bull. The Red Bull tries to go round the outside and he's got the warmer tyres forced onto the grass by Ayrton. That's not going to be too great. DRS for the next couple of cars maybe. No DRS for the Alfa Romeo. So it's going to be on pure pace alone. Cold tyres on that Aston Martin. He defends the inside, guts over the curb. That Alfa Romeo sits on the inside. It's got the warmer tyres. The Red Bull now trying to find a way through. And down the inside goes Martin in the Red Bull. Gets rid of that Alfa Romeo as soon as he possibly can. He needs to continue to fight Ayrton now. But he's not got a lot of battery to do so. Ayrton's had to use a lot on this lap as well. So his advantage has come down just a little bit. But Martin, DRS once again as they come down towards the stadium section. He'll be looking to try and get past Ayrton, who I think now will have warm tyres. So this could be over for the Red Bull before it's even really begun. Making his way around, Martin's got to try and put the pressure onto Ayrton. Short Marcus did come out in amongst this battle, but he was not really in the position, and those 9-lap-old tyres as well, not playing into his advantage. But Martin closing, he is. Down the inside he goes on the Aston Martin, and he's going to be just ahead as the corner starts. Lucky not to make contact, either of them there. And he's going to have the DRS again, double DRS zone, remember. He'll pull away once more, but I think Ayrton will just have enough to stay with him. Donev staying out still at the moment. Maybe he'll try to go on the soft tyres. Surely not. He'll have a hard time doing that. But certainly mediums will be the sensible option. But Martin and Ayrton swapping places and still battling away. Let's have a look at the penalty situation while things are a little bit calm. It's 6 seconds for the likes of Vetsku and Donev, 3 seconds for Kloppet and Lostock, who makes up a place. And it's fighting away with Ayrton 2 actually. We'll watch that along as Lostock loses a place to Ayrton 2 once more. I think Donev Guna is on 9 seconds of penalties. It's an interesting fight. Amaguna and Myra down the inside before into the stadium section. Gets the job done quite quickly and ahead. Martin sets the fastest lap of this race, but I've got a feeling Ayrton might have something to say about that. Martin doing a good job at the moment. Really getting in amongst it. Really sticking it to Ayrton, but he's got so little battery left in that tank. It's going to be so important. And we're in the closing stages of the race now. We've got 13 laps left of this race, I think. Yeah, 24, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 16, yeah. About 12 or 13 laps left in this race. 13, I think I just counted. So I don't know why I went into the teens there when I was counting into the 30s, but there you go. Result was the same though. Either way, Ayrton chasing after Martin. 6 tenths behind. This man knows what he's doing. It's the same, it's a repeat of the same, although Ayrton with the slight tyre advantage of 1 lap fresher medium tyres on that Aston Martin. And if anything happens to these two, Short Marcus is in great stead. He's got a 6.1 second gap to Donev behind. So these two, again, there's that flashing light on the Red Bull. Ayrton knows he's got this in the bag. He doesn't have to work too hard, but the Red Bull's going to make it work for it. Really wanted to go down the inside. It's the Aston Martin. They're going to fight wheel to wheel. Side by side they go. It's the inside for the next part of the corner. Forced off the track is the Red Bull, and Ayrton's going to have the DRS, and Martin's not going to have much of a response. He's got very little ERS left. Does he go for a dive? He has a look, a little think about it. Does not make the move, and I think Ayrton will start to run away with this race on ERS advantage alone. It's been great watching these two fight it out at the front. It's a shame that Nicky crashed when he did and left the session, because he was looking very good for a podium today as well. Three-second time penalty for speed alcoholic in the Ferrari. More track limits. Well, Mara the big winner here. Vetsku and Main Wayne have been inseparable, and they're fighting away with a Ferrari of Amaguna, who's on the hard tyres, so this will be an interesting fight to keep an eye on. Donev with the fastest lap of 17.8. He's trying to close that gap to Short Marcus down. I reckon he can do it on his tyres. Mara will be looking good for defending his lead at the moment in the championship, at least a little bit. I'm not sure what the gaps will be. I'm not the statistician's person. I nearly commentate, but Vetsku has made a move. The Finnish driver gets ahead of the Ferrari, puts a car in between himself and the Main Wayne. Meanwhile, the other Ferrari gets a move done on the Aston Martin of Kloppet, getting himself up into P9, and here comes the Main Wayne, soars down the inside of the Ferrari and makes short work of Guna. Ayrton managing that gap well. He knows he's got that ERS advantage. Meanwhile, Kloppet gets past Speed, who's had a spin. Oh, and him getting back on the track has caused a big crash. What has happened there? Was it, which Mercedes was it? That Mercedes is lucky to still be in one piece. Oh my word. What happened there, Speed? Oh, and he's got no front wing either. Wow, that could have ended in calamity and a safety car, and I'm shocked and amazed how that didn't. But that's Speed's race ruined. I'll probably put on a set of soft tyres to the end. No, he's retired. He's had enough for the night. 2 bad races in a row for the South African is enough for him. Meanwhile, doing a good job to put the pressure on and keep honest Ayrton is Martin. He's doing a great job around here in Mexico, loving the twists and turns of the Mexico City circuit at the moment, and putting on a great show for Red Bull. Ayrton knows he's got an advantage here. He knows he doesn't have to work too hard for this, but I think Martin's going to fight him all the way and try and save some battery as he does. Doesn't matter what battery you're on at the end of the race, as long as you cross the line in front of the other guy. That's what matters here. And DRS for Martin. I think he's going to make a move here. Ayrton tries to go defensive into the middle of the track. Goes the Aston Martin. Not going to work. The Red Bull down the inside. Swoops past the Aston Martin. Gets ahead of the race again. I'm not sure how many times we've had the lead change, but it changes once more as they go into the next part of the Sector 1 DRS zones. And pulling away is the Red Bull with that DRS advantage, but Ayrton still sat on it. Meanwhile, Donev has caught up to Short Marcus and is going to try and make short work of him. And he goes around the outside of turn 4 and gets the inside for the next corner. Maybe a little bit of contact between them. No ERS on that Alpine, by the way. Barely any ERS on that Alfa Romeo, but the tyre advantage has done Donev some favours and gets him into P3. I think these guys are fighting for position. Let's see. No, they're not. Donev has currently got more penalties than Marcus, so he needs to break 3 seconds from the Alfa Romeo in order to get by. Myra needs to try and catch the Alfa Romeo if he wants to get P4 and get himself a few more points. Vetsky and Main Lane still going along. I think these guys have swapped positions recently in their battle for P6. Vetsky with that penalty though, so if he does get ahead of the main lane, it's not going to matter too much if he can't break away. Gunnar as well on the back of this, but penalties plaguing them. Let's have a look. I think 12 seconds for Gunnar. Not the best race for that Ferrari at the moment. Is Vetsky going to make a move? Ayrton certainly not, as they're going down there. Vetsky closing and closing. He's very close to the back of that Haas, practically pushing him into turns 1, 2 and 3, but no move from the Williams thus far. We've been streaming for 100 minutes. It's been a long one tonight, but it's been an eventful one. Lots of racing action to cover, lots of interesting moves and strategy calls, and Vetsky with a 3-second time penalty, so that's going to dampen that chance of getting ahead of the main lane, who's doing a great job to fend these guys off. Gunnar still in this fight as well. The fight's died down. We've lost 6 drivers now after speed retired from the race. It's a shame. Can Myra catch Short Marcus, or at least get within 3 seconds of that Red Bull, of that Alfa Romeo? Short Marcus was doing so well, but I think he made the wrong call with the strategy, as those hard tyres really have fallen off in these dying stages. We've got 7 laps left of this Grand Prix, and currently TF Martin leads the race, and leads the race on merit as well. Is doing well to stay with Ayrton despite a deficit in battery, but I think Ayrton will strike at the right time and will make sure that strike is decisive. Donev on a race of his own in that Alpine there, more or less, but NERS still staying with that Red Bull, filling up those mirrors, saying, hey buddy, I'm still here, I haven't gone anywhere, so you're going to have to keep working hard. But I'm enjoying the challenge, I bet. Ayrton spends a bit too much time in the front on his own, so enjoying being threatened. And Myra now with a penalty, that's going to put a dampener in his race. He was hoping to get within 3 seconds of that Alfa Romeo, and now he's going to have to catch him and pass him on track unless Marcus gets another penalty. So Marcus's P4 is a little bit safer now. Barely any battery between them. I think it's so hard to regain battery here, and actually there's some fighting going on as Ayrton has made a move on the Red Bull and has forced the Red Bull off the track once again. I don't know if the stewards are going to have a look at that later down the line, but I'm sure Martin won't be too happy with Ayrton making him take a trip across the grass on multiple occasions. We'll wait and see what the stewards have to say, but Martin is still going to stick with him, and Eve, despite this battery deficit, is doing a great job to do so. A good track for this Red Bull driver. Car number 2. Short markers falling back. Myra slowly clawing away at this gap. He's got to try and get there. He's got 6 laps remaining. He'll be down to 5 in a moment, I think. As we start lap 32. And Ayrton just needs to try and pull away now. See if some ARS break the DRS, and then that's it. Martin has got nothing to answer with, but he's got no battery left anymore. He's going to rely on slipstream and DRS alone. Ayrton trying to break that toe and keep Martin at bay. Martin braking so late to try and stay with that Aston Martin. At the moment, they're coming down the next part of Sector 1 now, down this second DRS straight. Double DRS zones, remember, which are really helping Martin stay without Ayrton, actually. Which has probably been key to Martin's campaign during this whole race, and could prove crucial in the final stages as we tick down the laps. Vetsky and Main Rain, meanwhile, they continue their fight despite the penalties going against Vetsky at the moment. Still inseparable, these two. They've been fighting almost all race long. Martin and Ayrton have been very close together as well, and I think a move could be incoming from the Red Bull as we make another trip down. This fighting and chopping and changing could invite Donev in if he's fast enough to get in, but he's got that penalty as well, so that will work against the Alpine if he does manage to get involved. But another attack perhaps from the Red Bull. He's got to really work it through these next few corners. It's right on board as he comes along. Ayrton missing the apex there a little, maybe by choice, trying to get a wider line, a better exit, breaking that toe quite smartly, moving over as soon as he possibly can. And he knows he's got Martin there. If Ayrton was filling the mirrors and saying, hey, I'm still there, Martin's been filling these mirrors and saying, hey, I'm still here too, and I've got no battery, so game on, Ayrton. Game on. If Martin had some battery, I think he might be at a better advantage in winning this race. He just seems to have some great pace. I think his setup is making up for the places where Ayrton's setup is possibly lacking, or it's just a better savvy of the track, let's say, for the Red Bull, and has enjoyed the circuit a bit more. I'd love to know what's going through Martin's head right now and what his thoughts are on the Mexico City circuit. Maybe I'll ask him in the Discord after this race. But here he comes. He's going to open up that DRS once again. He's going to close and close and close onto the back of that Aston Martin. Aston Martin's not going to bother defending Ayrton. I don't think he needs to do that. Down the inside goes the Red Bull. They're going to go wheel to wheel once more into these first 3 corners. But the Red Bull's going to get just ahead and block him off with the DRS once more. This is crucial now. Ayrton is going to try and use some of that battery, try and intimidate and scare this Red Bull into making some mistakes, but these two have been inseparable the entire race. Meanwhile, Vetsky has made his way past Main Wayne in here. He's got to try and break that gap. There's a yellow flag. That is a Mercedes spun around at the final corner. That is Avi. I think he's still in the race. He is. He's going once more, so no cause for alarm, and there'll be no time for a safety car now anyway, as we've only got 2 laps remaining once lap 34 is complete, and that is almost done. So Ayrton's really going to have to put an attack on here. Now it is all to play for. Martin has got himself ahead. Ayrton is in the right place to get a move done. That's right on board with the Aston Martin through this final corner. A little bit slow on the exit there, actually. Loses a bit of time to Martin, who is breaking this toe as effectively as he can. Right, here comes Ayrton using all of that battery. Look at the speed that Aston Martin's got. He's going to go round the outside, make short work of the Red Bull, and they go and swap places once more. These two have been battling away lap after lap. It's going to come down to the final lap. What an incredible race this has been for the pair of drivers. A pat on the back for them both. If they continue to fight as hard as they have been, Donev could see himself sneaking into this as well. Ayrton says the fastest Sector 1 of anybody on the racetrack right now. Martin's going to continue to stay with him. If he can make the move stick in this on the beginning of the last lap, then Martin could win this race. But Ayrton, he knows what he's got to do. He's got the battery to do it. And I think Martin is going to be out for the count. And look, he's dropped back a fair bit already. Martin's really got to try and use as much of what he's got left to try and catch up Vetsku. Another time penalty, so the main Wayne going to gain some more places. Well, gain another place comfortably at the moment. My stream's not live for some reason, but anyway, here we go. We're starting the final lap of this race. Ayrton using all the ERS he's got left. Martin knows what he's got to do. He's got to sit in the slipstream of that Aston Martin and try and get him. But Ayrton has got so much battery to play with at the moment. I think Martin, this could be a lost cause for the Red Bull unless he tries something audacious in this final lap. He goes very deep into the first corner, a little bit squirrely through there, has to cut it and gets himself a penalty. So any chance he had of winning this race is out the window as he gets a penalty after a silly mistake through the first three corners. And that's it. That is an anticlimactic finish to what has been a battle that has lasted all race long. Such a shame for it to end that way. He's been doing, he was driving so incredibly well to stay with Ayrton. You don't fight a driver of that calibre and not put in maximum effort. He must be gutted, but he'll come home with a P2 for his troubles, which isn't anything to scoff at, unless he makes an absolute audacious send, makes Ayrton get a penalty, or takes out Ayrton, who then just finishes after being classified. But rounding the final couple of corners now, this man has proven why he is a championship winner, and he's going to come across the line to win the Mexican Grand Prix. Martin put on a great show, a great challenge to the defending champion, but no dice for the Red Bull today as he finishes P2. Donev P3, a fairly quiet race for him. Short Marcus skids across the line for good measure for P4. Myra, championship leader, I think he'll still will be at the end of this race coming through. Vetsku P6, but he will lose that to the main Wayne as he crashes across the line. Does the Williams. Will any places go to Imaguna? No. Clopit, will he gain anything from this either? I don't think so. Oh, he will. He gains a place on Amaguna after his amount of penalties. So P8 for the Aston Martin. So a decent job there. We've got to wait for the two Mercedes to come across the line. Let's see who's got fastest lap. It's Donev with a 17.8. So around the final corner now comes Avi. A poor race for Mercedes. They both had their own separate little incidents. Yeah, hards to mediums was much faster. It was a cracking race though. If you're Ayrton or Martin, you're probably sweating buckets. Avi with driver of the day. I'm not sure on my driver of the day. I'll try and give you an insight into that after we see the podium celebrations. But wow, what a race we've had here at Mexico today. There he is then, the man in that British racing green suit makes his way out onto the podium. N.E.R. Ayrton, the man who has been dominating and winning races here in Division 1 for some time and has proven tonight why he is the top dog of this division. He'll claw back some much needed points after that DNF around Canada. Martin put up a great fight to finish P2 and a pat on the back for him. You don't take on a driver like Ayrton without any effort put in. So N.E.R. Ayrton then, he finishes on the top step, flanked by TF Martin, who I personally think did an incredible job today to bring a challenge to the Danish driver. And of course Donev finishes P3. Short Marcus and Myra round off your top 5 with the main Wayne, Vetsku, Clopit, Amaguna and Avi making up the rest of the top 10. Amir and Lostock finished P11 and 12 with Ayrton 2 finishing P13. Your non-finishers for the Mexico City Grand Prix were Speed Alcoholic, Dennis Ivanov, The Toe, Aces vs Kings, Nicky Naif Clark. Clop it, I'll say you did very well. You did great in qualifying, and P8's nothing bad, I think. Good top 10 finish there, mate. Well done. Nice work. All of the Finnish drivers in the top 8. Good stuff. But wow, a great job from everybody. My driver of the day. You know what? Oh. I want to give it to Martin, because I was so impressed with how he managed to bring it to Ayrton today. Short Marcus did a good job today as well, I find. Got a great start as well. Wrong strategy ruined his race. I mean, I have to give it to Ayrton. Although Vetsku as well, a good race from Vetsku, P13 to P7. It's not a bad shout from the Williams driver either. But no, they made Ayrton work today, and he proved them all why he's the top driver. My driver of the day goes to Ayrton today, I think. But that is going to do it for some ESRL action. It's been a pleasure to bring it to you. As always, I do enjoy coming over here and seeing what you guys in your Elite League are up to. You aliens racing with no assist at all. You're a much braver set of drivers than I. But it always does prove for some great racing. And God knows how Speed didn't take out that Mercedes in that crash earlier. But thankfully he didn't. But a bad night of racing. Lots of penalties up and down the grid as well, I'm noticing. But hopefully Ghost will be back next week. Hopefully I will be back next week, depending on when my employers want to put me into work. But hopefully I'll be here for some more ESRL action. I'm now going to go and get some much needed rest. I've got an early start tomorrow, and I'm hoping that I don't have a sore throat come the morning. But thank you so very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure to be over here in ESRL. I have been Sumo. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very, very soon.